about. So they reveal that everyone in the town calls them by that name, but Nemi doesn't trust the
Ciao.
adventurers. So they introduce themselves as Sibelin and Gilbert, telling her they aren't there to cause trouble. They know that Light's party defeated the Mantis and reached the fifth floor, so they tell him that people are rooting for him, since he can prove that humans can compete with other races. Their companions call them, so they bid Light farewell, but he hears the other races talking about him, thinking everything they heard about him is just a lie. We see Light's party flying around, as he notes that they should go down to the fifth floor, but they see the kids on the ground. So they decide to talk to them, and Mia gives Light a gift to thank him for saving
Ciao.
them,
So,
telling him it's an ointment for burns. He thanks her for the gift, but he thinks he needs to give her something in return, so he gives her a bracelet, and she immediately wears it, telling him she'll treasure it forever. After that, Mimia asks Light why he gave
brother,
Mia the
okay,
SSR Wish
yeah,
bracelet,
whatever. Now.
thinking it isn't the right thing to do, since she just gave him an
Should you actually
ointment.
play like
But Gold thinks
Valorant
it's
stuff?
perfect for her, since it makes small miracles happen,
Why
and
is
he
the CV
praises
so
Light for
high?
giving her something she needs, telling Nemu to be less materialistic. They reach the fifth floor, which is covered in snow, and Light tells his companions to hunt the Yetis they need, before teleporting away. He returns to the throne room, where the girls greet him, and May
Yo,
asks him if his operation is going well. So he tells her he
what's up, bro?
So,
So, I was just bored, man. Actually, like, there's nothing to do right now.
yeah, same.
What are you up to? Like, what are you doing right now?
I think just vaping and watching this.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, nice. Okay, anime. V, I'm also watching some anime, bro. Some random anime. Okay, bro. Which I like actually. Did I? Yo. Yo, bro. What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to the chat, bro.
he's been enjoying his journey as an adventurer, and notes that he was able to meet good people. He asks Ellie about the revenge
Yo, what's
operation,
good?
so
What's good?
she
What's good?
tells
Welcome
him
to the
they're
chat,
almost
brother.
ready, and he praises her for doing a great
Yo,
job.
I'm actually
He
bored,
orders
bro.
May to
Like,
manage
there's
things in the
nothing to
abyss,
do
and
right
puts
now.
Yuki in charge of scouting the ancient forest, but Nazuna asks him what she should do. He knows that she's extremely clumsy, so he just tells her to keep everyone safe while he's away, since they don't know
Sorry,
when
bro.
a powerful enemy might show up.
Mm,
We see Sivellin and Gilbert on the third floor, and they talk about the Black Motley, thinking Light must be a legendary knight or reincarnated hero, since he can cast tactical spells without incantation. Sivellin thinks they need him to prove that the other races are wrong about humans, but he notes that he needs to
mm.
pee, telling Gilbert to be on the lookout while he's away.
uh,
But when he returns,
yo,
he realizes that
Riansa.
Gilbert and his other
Welcome to
companions
the
were
chat,
killed by
brother.
Kaido, who mentions that he hates humans. Suvella knows that he can't defeat Kaido, so he uses a smoke bomb to escape and starts running for his life. But he gets hit and crashes to the ground, and he realizes that Kaido was able to
So,
catch him since he's flying.
mm,
Yannick knocks him out, but he asks Kaido why he killed the other humans, since they could have used them for the experiment. So he promises to be more careful next time, and Yannick notes that even the most worthless humans have value as test subjects, thinking the role is perfect for them since they're inferior beings. At the guild, Nimue tells the receptionist to raise Light's rank to S, since his achievements
child,
are
like this stream right
unmatched.
now, bro.
But the
Like this
receptionist
stream right
notes that
now.
she can't do it, and explains that they made a special exception for him by
It's
promoting him
so
straight to
freaking
rank
boring,
D,
man.
but they can't
Like,
raise it
what
further
should I
since they
actually
have a
do
system
right
in
now?
place. Nimue is upset hearing this, and the receptionist tells her that he still lacks experience as an adventurer, but notes that they can raise his rank higher if he accomplishes something extraordinary. That evening, Light sees a quest about the adventurer killer, and Gold thinks he'll rank up if he completes it, but he notes that the suspect still hasn't been identified. They discuss how they can track down the killer, but they suddenly sense something approaching, so they prepare for battle. A portal appears above them, but they're surprised to see Mia, who looks beat up, and her bracelet breaks after her wish is granted. Light heals her using his magic, and he wants to know what happened to her, so he uses his hypnosis to look into her memories. We see the kids talking to a group of adventurers, who warn them about the adventurer killer, telling them he can cast multiple spells with different attributes. So Mia knows that they're no match for him, and as the adventurers prepare to leave, they tell the kids to leave the dungeon immediately. Elio decides to follow their advice, and the kids start heading back, but he realizes that they're exhausted, so they decide to rest for a while. But Kaido suddenly appears with Yannick, who asks the kids if they need help, and the kids think they can trust them since they've met before. They explain that they're trying to leave the dungeon, since they've heard about the adventurer
Yo,
killer,
what's
but
up, my
Kaido
guy?
realizes
Ling.
that everyone already knows about his
Ling.
crimes. He
Art?
reveals that
Yo,
he's the
how should I
adventurer
say
killer,
that?
so the kids start to panic, and the boys tell Mia to escape while they buy time for her. They
Yo,
charge
okay,
them,
wait, hold on,
so
hold on,
Kaido
hold on. No,
attacks
no,
them
no,
with
no.
his sword, but Wordy refuses to go down, and he shouts at Mia to run for her life.
Bro, it
Gilbert
might.
gets back up,
Wait, wait,
and
wait, wait,
rushes
wait,
forward
wait.
with Wordy, but Kaido cuts them down, and Mia screams as they fall to the ground. Yannick tells Kaido that he could have used them for his experiments, but he mentions that he'll cut down the
Wait, I'm
weaklings
actually
who
sorry,
try to
man.
fight back,
Wait, wait, one
and he
second, one
tells
second.
Yannick he can use Mia as his test subject. But Kaido wants to have some fun with her first, so Yannick tells him to take his time, but reminds him not to kill her. She tells him to stay away from her, but he tells her there's no reason to be afraid, and notes that she should feel honored, since a future legendary hero is about to use
Yo,
her. But
why
Elio
is
gets
more?
back up,
Oh my
telling her
days,
to run
bro.
away, and Yannick finds him interesting,
Guys, one
so he tells
second.
Kaido to capture him alive. Elio
Yo,
is ready
that's
to give
actually
up his
my
place to
bad.
save her, thinking he's going to die anyway, and she realizes that he's planning to put everything on the line, so she cries and starts running away. Yannick tells Kaido to pursue her,
Yo,
but Elio tries to
like,
attack him, so Kaido pushes
chat,
him
wait
back,
one second,
but
one
he
second, one second.
refuses to go down without a fight. Yannick reminds Kaido not to kill him, but he notes that it's easier to kill humans than to capture them, and Elio recalls how
600, bro,
Gold mentioned
what?
that battles are all about creativity and skill. He
What?
comes up with
Why
a
is.
plan to defeat Kaido,
No,
who
bro.
continues to look down on him, but Elio throws his sword, which Kaido barely dodges, but Elio smashes him with his shield. Kaido can't believe he was knocked down, and Elio calls him a loser, so he becomes furious and summons a blade to impale Elio. He mentions he'll make Elio suffer for touching his face, but Yannick stops him and reminds him that he still needs to capture Mia, telling him they can't let the outsiders know that they're criminals. Mia reaches the woods, but Kaido's blades block her path, and she
Chat, now you
realizes
could
that he was
say,
able to
bro.
catch
My
up to
bad,
her.
actually.
He reveals that he can use Grandius to create and control multiple blades, telling her it's a phantasmal class weapon from the Elven Queendom, and he mentions that humans are no match for him. But Mia refuses to give up, since the boys sacrificed their lives to protect her, and she summons ice swords to attack him, but he easily destroys them. She tries to
Yo,
escape, but he
bro.
sends her crashing to the ground, and tells her to give up. He notes that she's about to get lucky with a legendary hero, but she tells him he's just a bully who targets the weak, which makes him upset. He recalls how the other elves looked down on him since there was nothing special about him, and they thought he was bullying weaklings just to feel better about himself. So he starts to lose it, and prepares to kill Mia, but she's determined to reach Light to tell him everything that happened, and her wish bracelet activates. Back in the present, Light learns about everything that happened, so he decides to stop Kaido. Yannick heals Elio, since he wants him to survive so that he can experiment on him, but Kaido reveals that Mia got away. Yannick can't believe Kaido lost her, so he explains that
W's.
she suddenly disappeared. He
Chat, should
thinks
I
she
watch
used a
something else?
teleportation item
Y'all
to
can
escape.
just suggest, I
Yannick
could just,
realizes
you
they're in
know.
trouble, since everyone will find out that they're criminals, and he thinks the Elven Queendom will learn that Kaido stole their Grandius, so they'll send knights to look for him. Yannick knows that the captain of the White Knights is level 3000, while his men are in the 2000s, and they even have weapons that can match Grandius. So Kaido thinks he's screwed, but Yannick mentions that if they complete his research, Kaido can surpass his level limit and defeat the White Knights. They prepare to leave, but Light suddenly appears, and Kaido wonders how he was able to sneak up on him. Light realizes that Gimra and Wordy are dead, but Gold mentions that Elio is still alive, so Light uses his magic to heal him. He's determined to avenge them, since he knows that they're good people, and Yannick and Kaido try to convince him that they didn't harm the boys, but he reveals that he already knows everything thanks to Mia. He tells them not to worry since he still hasn't reported them to the guild, so Kaido starts laughing, thinking he can get away with everything if he kills Light. But he explains that he didn't tell the guild so that he can punish them himself, telling them he'll make them suffer before finishing them off. He tells Gold and Nemu to stay out of this, and he starts walking towards Kaido, who looks down on him since he's just a human. Kaido lunges at him, but Light easily blocks his attack, and asks him if that's all he can do. So he becomes angry and continues to swing his sword, but he can't get past Light's defenses, and Yannick can't believe that Kaido is struggling against a human. He swings with all his might, but Light parries his attack and punches him away, telling Kaido he needs to do better if he wants to survive. He uses Grandious's ability to summon elemental blades, and he launches all of them at Light, who runs around and jumps to avoid them. Kaido suddenly attacks him from behind, but Light still manages to block it, and Kaido thinks he's a warrior pretending to be a mage, since only warriors can keep up with him. But he explains that he really is a mage, and he summons ice swords to prove it, but Kaido is surprised that he can do it without incantation. He launches his blades to attack Light, but he destroys them with his ice swords, and Yannick is amazed that he countered the clones of Grandius with his spell, realizing his magic power is insane. Kaido attacks him from all sides, but he surrounds himself with his ice, and Kaido and Yannick wonder how he can do that, since they've never seen anyone use ice swords like a barrier. He continues to mock Kaido, who can't believe he's losing to a human, and he notes that Grandius is the strongest holy sword, since it was given to a master by the heavens. Everyone's surprised hearing this, and Light asks him how he knows about the masters, so Kaido reveals that he was born with the blood of a master. He claims that he's vastly superior to humans since he's part master, but Light isn't sure what he means. So he tells his companions that he has decided to take Kaido and Yannick to the Abyss, so that he can get answers from them. Nemu and Gold prepare to capture Yannick, who explains that he doesn't know how to fight, but his servants transform into chimeras. He reveals that he's been experimenting on human-monster hybrids, and Light recognizes one of them, realizing it's Suvelin. Yannick thinks combining different species is the key to surpassing their growth limits, but notes that he needs multiple humans to create his masterpiece, which is why he's been hunting with Kaido. Light orders Nemu and Gold to put the chimeras out of their misery, so they cut them down, but Yannick mentions that it isn't over, and his chimeras instantly regenerate. Nemu and Gold struggle to take them down, since their attacks are working, so Yannick tells them to give up, but they decide to get serious and unleash their powers. They attack the chimeras with their special skills, and Yannick thinks it isn't enough to kill them, but he realizes that they're no longer regenerating. So he starts to panic, but Nemu suddenly kicks him in the nuts, and he passes out from the pain. Light overwhelms Kaido with his ice swords, and asks him if he's too afraid to continue their fight, which makes him remember how Elio called him a loser. He's angry that humans are looking down on him, and he's determined to prove them wrong, so he unleashes Grandius's ultimate form. He uses it to attack Light, but he jumps away, and realizes that the Grandius is like a magic whip. He admits that it's flashy, but tells Kaido it isn't enough to defeat him, so he becomes furious, and notes that Light won't survive if it hits him. But he stops moving and tells Kaido to bring it on, so he unleashes his weapon's full power, and swings it with all his might. But his attack has no effect, and Light tells him to keep going, so he starts swinging wildly. But Light parries his attack and kicks him away, telling him he won't kill him yet, since he still has questions for him. Kaido begs for mercy, but Light tells him he's pathetic, and notes that he doesn't deserve to be called a hero, since true heroes never give up and fight against the odds. Light gives him one last chance to prove himself, and promises to spare Kaido if he manages to scratch him, but he panics and starts running away. So Light uses his solar ray to cripple him, and Kaido squirms in pain, while Light tells him that Mia was right about him, since he isn't a real hero. Light decides to bury Gimra and Wordy in the Abyss, since the area is infested with monsters, but Kaido and Yannick wonder what will happen to them, so Light tells them they're coming with him. He uses his teleportation spell to take everyone to the throne room, and tells Kaido and Yannick they're in the deepest part of the Abyss, but they wonder why he brought them there. So Nemu reveals that he lives there, and they can't believe he's staying in the world's most dangerous dungeon, but she tells them to stop talking. The girls welcome Light, and ask him about Kaido and Yannick, so he reveals that they're criminals who murdered people for their experiments. but he notes that he brought them there since they know something about the masters, and the girls look forward to interrogating them. But he tells the girls not to kill them until he learns everything they know, and orders Nemu to help him bury Gimra and Wordy. They start begging for mercy again, but he reminds them that they made their victims suffer, telling them they don't deserve mercy because of the way they treated them. After that, Mia wakes up in a hotel, and Light tells her that his party ran into her while they were looking for the adventurer killer. She wonders what happened to the boys, so he reveals that they were able to save Elio, but Gimra and Wordy didn't make it. He notes that he couldn't bring their bodies back, but he gives her their hair, and she cries as she thanks him for everything he's done for her. The next day, Light returns to the guild, where the receptionist mentions that they're promoting him to C-class. He notes that he wasn't able to capture the adventurer killer, but she tells him it's okay, since he gave the guild information about Kaido and Yannick, and even saved 2 potential victims. That evening, Elio tells Light that he's leaving with Mia tomorrow, and he asks them about their plans, so they reveal that they will quit adventuring and return to their hometown. He tells them they can find other adventurers to join their party, but they explain that they don't want to form a new party without Gimra and Wordy, and Elio notes that he wants to take them back to their home. Mia mentions that she'll give up enrolling in the academy and study magic herself, telling Light she'll do anything it takes to become a proper mage. After the siblings leave, Light looks forward to seeing them again, and he thinks about taking them to Gimra and Wordy's graves when he can finally share the truth. He orders Nemu and Gold to hold down the fort, while he returns to the Abyss, where Mei shows him the results of their investigation. Ellie reveals that she used her forbidden magic to read the criminals' minds, and notes that since Kaido was a
So
descendant
if you
of the
got like,
Master, he had the ability to level up faster. Mei adds that there's a rumor that the world will end if the Master is left unchecked, but Light wonders if it's true. Ellie notes that she learned about it through Kaido's conversation with the captain of the White Knights, so Light thinks they need to look into him. She shows him how Kaido and Yannick are doing, and he thinks it's time to get rid of them, so he uses a card which summons monsters that eat Ellie for an update about the revenge plan, so she notes that they're ready to make their move against Sasha, telling him they can start by capturing the White Knights. Ellie reveals that their vice captain is
so
engaged
if
to
you
Sasha,
actually, bro,
so he'll
like
be useful as a
5
hostage, and Light
highlights, I
tells her it's
guess,
time to
bro.
execute their plan. Meanwhile, we
And
see Sasha
actually,
with
I'm
her
so
fiancé Mikhail, who reveals
bored,
that he's
man.
wiped out human villages before, and he notes that he enjoys seeing them beg for their lives. Sasha tells him how she also enjoyed it when she shot Light, and they think they're the perfect match since they're both evil, but Light looks forward to seeing her again, so that he can ruin her life.
Chavi, actually,
We
bro.
see
Like, what
Sasha
should
in
we watch
carriage,
right now?
as she thinks about how
Should we
handsome
play,
Mikhail
bro?
is, and her mate is happy for her, since she's about to be married. But the carriage suddenly stops, and they see that a human slave dropped what he was carrying, as his boss hits him and tells him to clean up the mess. Sasha thinks humans are trash, since they can't even complete the most basic tasks, but she sees Light going into an alley. So she freaks out and runs after him, wondering if her eyes are playing tricks on her, since he's supposed to be dead. But he disappears, so she thinks she was just imagining things, but she sees a note on the wall, which mentions that he's waiting for her at the tower. She panics as she realizes that he's still alive, and she's worried that he'll ruin her life, since she only became a noble after everyone learned that she killed him.
Chavi, be
Ellie
down, bro.
watches her from above, and she tells Light to leave everything to her, as she promises to punish Sasha for making him suffer. We see the White Knights in a garden, as 2 of their members, Nia and Kia, play a game where they throw knives at a slave. The knight Sharfit enjoys his time with a
Chavi,
human
we
girl
in
named
there,
Sasha,
bro.
and pretends to
Like,
have fun,
what should we
but she
do
can't
actually right now,
relax since
bro?
she can hear the boys screaming.
Guys, talk,
Sharfit
man.
talks to
Like,
their captain Hardy, telling him about what
actually,
happened to Kaido, and he thinks it's a pain since they might need to clean up his mess. Another knight named Must explains that they should take responsibility for what Kaido did, since he used to be a member of the knighthood, but Sharfit notes that he'd rather spend time with Sasuke. The slave screams as he gets hit, so Sharfit tells Nia and Kia to stop ruining the mood, but they tell him to mind his own business, and call him a freak for flirting with a human girl. Must notes that humans are lowly creatures, so it's okay to keep them as pets, but they need to put them out of their misery since their lives are miserable. Everyone starts to argue, but Hardy tells them to be silent, and they immediately get intimidated. He tells everyone to behave, and orders Sharfit to put the slave out of his misery, so he blows his head off. He tells Sasuke to return to their room, while Hardy orders the others to dispose of the body, but he tells Sharfit to stop flirting with humans, since their blood might be polluted. So Sharfit assures him that it won't happen, since he would never make a half-breed, and he explains that he just enjoys toying with their hearts. Nia and Kia think he's disgusting, but he just ignores them, and notes
Guys.
that he'll get rid of Saska soon, since he's starting to grow tired of her. He asks Hardy if he wants to finish her off, but he notes that he isn't interested, and mentions that the royal family will order them to fix Kaido's mess soon. That evening, Sasha wakes up as she hears a loud noise, and a giant tower appears in the woods, as Ellie notes that the stage has been set. Sasha sees it, and she remembers the note Light left for her, thinking he must be waiting for her there. We see a carriage filled with slaves, but the driver stops as he sees a monster, which starts walking towards him, so he panics and runs away. A bartender tells his customers that he's out of stock, since all the
Bro.
deliveries were cut off by the monsters that appeared
Oh
in the
my
woods.
days,
The
bro.
customers think it's because of the giant tower, and they talk about how the Queendom's forces are investigating it, but they don't have enough people to do it. So they posted a quest for adventurers, offering to give them a huge reward for information on the tower, but they're afraid to go there since it's surrounded by monsters. We see Light's party with the other adventurers, as they realize that the tower is creating a buzz, but two elves invite Nemu to join them, since they find her attractive. They explain that she's lucky since they don't usually allow humans to join them, but she tells them to go away, because Light is the only master she needs. He asks them to leave her alone, but one of them tries to punch him, so he summons a thunder arrow to stop him, and everyone can't believe
Brother.
that he used magic without an incantation.
Guys, this is a good
He
jump,
walks
like,
away with
actually.
Nemu and Gold, as he notes that everything's going according to their plan, and he hopes that Yuki and the others are also doing their part. We see a group of elves in the woods, as they use a human girl as bait, so that they can escape in case a monster attacks them. But a monster suddenly appears, and it eats the elves before they can do anything, causing the girl to panic. But it suddenly walks away, and a group of punks appear, so she thinks she's about to be kidnapped, but they heal her with a potion. Their leader reports to Yuki, telling her they were able to rescue another human, and she's glad that everything's going according to plan. Ellie knows that she's controlling the monsters, and Yuki tells her that everything's going smoothly, but she's still worried that something might go wrong. She wonders if Light is trying to test them, and Yuki tells her not to concern herself, but she explains that they need to understand his intentions. Yuki notes that they just need to obey his orders without thinking, but Ellie asks her if she's happy with being his pet, which makes her upset, and they both prepare to fight, but Yuki's punks interrupt them, as they report that they've reached the safe haven. We see that they gave the kids they rescued a place to stay, and the girl thanks them for saving her, but they just wish her all the best. That evening, Sasha thinks about going to the tower to kill Light, but she thinks she won't survive if she goes there alone, since there are level 1000 monsters in the forest. She knows that she can't ask for the White Knight's help, since her reputation will suffer if they find out that Light is still alive, so she has no choice but to head to the tower alone. The next day, the Elven officials hold a meeting, where the Chancellor suggests sending the White Knights to deal with the tower, and he asks for Hardy's opinion on the topic. So he explains that he's against the Chancellor's suggestion, since they don't have information on the tower, but the Chancellor already wants to send their nation's elite unit to solve the problem. The Queen agrees with Hardy, and orders the officials to raise the reward money, so that the people will keep trying. After the meeting, Hardy thanks the Queen for taking his side, and we learn that she's his mother. She tells him she'll never put him in harm's way, and he thinks the Chancellor is rushing to solve the problem, since he's making a move in his game of politics. Hardy notes that they can't trust him, because he's waiting for his chance to abolish the monarchy, but she thinks he isn't a threat as long as they're together. She notes that the tower is the real problem, since it could trigger a chain of events that might destroy their nation, and Hardy realizes that she's talking about the second coming of the Archfiend. She explains that the Eight-Nation Alliance will destroy the Archfiend, but a human hero will be born, which will make the humans a threat to the elves. She thinks they should wipe the humans out, but Hardy notes that it will turn the world against them, so he suggests killing or trying to win the hero over instead. She notes that the hero could be a master, and Hardy asks her about the potential master that appeared recently, so she notes that he was eliminated since he turned out to be trash. The adventurers gather to apply for the tower's scouting quest, and as Light walks around with his party, he sees the elves
Oh,
from the other day, who look like
brother.
they want to kill him. Sasha
Bro,
hears
we
his
actually
voice,
did
and
ask.
thinks it sounds familiar, so she calls out to him and tells him to remove his mask. He thinks it still isn't the right time to make his move,
So
so he
should we actually
explains that
watch
he's
this,
wearing
man?
his mask to hide the burns on his face, but she tells him she doesn't care and removes it herself. So Nemu becomes angry, but he tells her to calm down, and he shows Sasha his burn marks. She's disgusted by his face and tells him to hide it, so he puts his mask back on, as she tells him he's so ugly that he's better off dead. We learn that he used his mask to create an illusion, and he thanks Nemu and Gold for not jumping in, but they find it hard to stand our attitude. After that, Light's party runs in the woods, as the elves from the other day chase after them, and he tells them to stay away if they don't want to die. But they're determined to get back at him, so he picks up the pace and leaves them behind. He reaches the place where he's supposed to meet his allies, but he realizes that they aren't there yet, so he decides to wait for them. But the elves catch up to him, and he's surprised that he didn't lose them when he picked up the pace. They tell Light to beg for their lives if they don't want to die, but a girl named Maris suddenly appears behind them and tells them they'll pay for messing with her master. They scream as she eats them with her monster arms, mentioning that they taste horrible, but she notes that she's willing to eat any number of them if it's for Light. Gold and Nemu think she's scary, but she tells them not to be afraid of her, since she would never hurt her friends. A girl named Ice Heat appears with her group, and they apologize for being late, telling Light they're ready to serve him. He tells them to lead him to the tower, so Ice Heat tells a girl named Suzu to show them the way, but she doesn't talk. Her musket lock apologizes for her behavior, but Light tells her it's okay, since he knows that she's shy.
What am I doing
Everyone
actually, bro?
follows her as they make their way to the tower, and Gold talks to Jack, who reveals that he joined them because he's loyal to Lightmeister. The girls become angry hearing this, and they all stare at him, so he tells them to calm down, since he just gave Light a nickname. He explains that there's no need to be so formal, since they're all part of the same crew, and he's ready to fight them if they don't agree with him. But Light tells everyone to calm down, and explains that he and Jack have an understanding, so there's no reason to be angry. But he realizes he couldn't fix the vibes, and he tells Ice Heat it's his first time seeing her with her gauntlets. She explains that she's still dressed as a maid since May has been teaching her the maid's code, and notes that it's been so long that she feels strange wearing her gauntlets. Mara tells her to take off the main outfit, but she notes that she won't strip in front of Light, who's glad that he was able to lighten up the mood. He realizes that everyone's talking to each other again, but Locke tells Suzu to get her act together, since Mara will eat her if she doesn't pay respect to Light. He knows that Locke is the only one she talks to,
And
since
5
she isn't
seconds if
comfortable
no
around
one
other
like,
people, but he
I
wonders
mean
if
10
she's a
seconds if
girl,
no one
since
like
she was
talks
listed
around
as
ending
androgynous on
stream,
her
bro.
card. They reach the tower,
Like,
where the
bro,
girls welcome
please.
Light back, and Ellie tells him they should talk inside. She shows him around, as she explains that she hasn't activated anything yet, but the interior is furnished with her enchantments and advanced technology. He sees a dragon inside, and Ellie reveals that it's her pet, explaining that she summoned it to help them execute their plan. Light sits on his throne, while Ellie tells everyone about their revenge plan, and notes that the idea is to congratulate Sasha on her royal marriage by treating her to a cold dish of revenge. But she decided to add her unique touches to the plan, and explains that since the White Knights are the Queen's strongest warriors, they should have a series of battles against them to test the strength of their forces. After the White Knights are captured, the Elven Queendom will be crippled, and it will be easier for Light to gather all the information that they have regarding the Masters. Ellie creates a shadow, and notes that it will take Light's place while the operation is underway, so he can relax as he watches how things unfold. He praises her for coming up with a brilliant plan, and she notes that Yuki's beasts are now luring Sasha to the tower, where she'll be greeted by the dragon. Sasha sees a monster in the woods, and the two adventurers she hired tell her to avoid it, since they're no match for
I'm
it.
gonna end stream, bro.
She sneaks past it, but she sees the dragon guarding the tower, and she knows that only the White Knights can defeat it, so she decides to go back and ask for their help. Ellie knows that Sasha will return with the White Knights, and she tells Light to enjoy the show, since his strongest warriors are about to fight them. That evening, Sasha tells the officials about the creatures she saw, and notes that they must be the reason why the other monsters were pushed outside of the forest.
Goodbye, bro.
The queen is surprised to learn that a